colonial ancestors brought over because it was such a hardy crop. Years ago, it was lost in North America. People stopped growing it.
We now are really understanding this, and your work with Big Bold Health and with one particular plant called Himalayan Tartary Buckwheat. This is an ancient plant. It's actually a flour, not a grain, even though it's called buckwheat. It's not wheat, or it's not a
No
grain.
connection to the genes of wheat at all.
This sort of ancient grain turns out is very high in a lot of these immune regulating phytochemicals.
3,500-year-old food. Can you imagine in the Fertile Crescent, there were really a major source of nutrients. The first kind of husbanded crop was millet. And so millet is in the Indio regime considered a very, very important non-gluten grain. It's a cereal product that's not gluten containing. In the Himalayan region of the world, in China, you had a similar 3,500-year-old product that was agriculturally husbanded. That was this Tartary buckwheat. Tartary stands for the Tartan district of China, which is up against the Himalayas, northern China.
Which is now was Tibet, now China.
Yeah.
And actually the Tibetan yak herders, and their typical breakfast is something called sampa.
Yes.
Which is basically roasted buckwheat.
Yes.
Or barley.
Mhm.
They use different compounds, and they actually then turn into like a little cookie dough kind of thing they eat for breakfast.
In fact, I just was in discussion this last week with a farmer of Tartary buckwheat in Bhutan, and he was saying how important that food has been in the Bhutanese culture, and why they have very good health outcomes. And of course, it's a happy group of people too, so maybe there's lots of things going on there. But he's been very concerned that they're converting the Tartary buckwheat, which they call black buckwheat, over into other crops now because of the pressure of getting increased yields.
Yeah.
And so that people are losing the nutritional benefit in Bhutan, and he was very worried about maintaining their cultural heritage. And we in the United States, actually, it's interesting, our colonial ancestors brought over Tartary buckwheat because it was such a hardy crop. It didn't need irrigation, it didn't need fertilizer, and bugs don't like it because it has such a high level of these phytochemicals that it's almost like it's natural pesticide. Years ago, Tartary buckwheat was lost in North America. People stopped growing it and replaced it with seed and soy, wheat and soy, corn, and so it got lost in this country as well.
You know, in some of these countries, they actually will use it in many ways. They make noodles, so soba noodles is in Japan, but they also have in Japan this sort of derivative, which is this tea, which is sort of thick, kind of almost like a kind of porridgey thing that comes as a waste product from the water, but it's actually full of a lot of these phytochemicals, and they drink that as a part of their diet. So it's interesting. And you look at these cultures; they've incorporated this in as part of their way of eating, but in the sort of marriage of this ancient grain with the modern science of being able to sort of understanding the ways in which our genes are regulated by these foods, we're uncovering so many remarkable discoveries that show us how different parts of our immune system are controlled.
That's right.
Right. So some parts are actually suppressed, which you want, and for health, and some are activated, which help you fight different chronic diseases.
If you love that last video, you're going to love the next one. Check it out here.